After 5 years in USL League Two, Northeast Indiana has professional soccer as Fort Wayne FC hosts Charlotte Independence for a home opening celebration of the beautiful game. Welcome one and all to the broadcast here at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenster. I am joined by Hall of Famer Renee Washington on the call. Can't wait to open up another new venue across the United Soccer League. It's been 2 months that we've already spent in the season. Fort Wayne's been on the road for all of it, and much like the stadium, it's been a work in progress.
Fort Wayne hoping they can open up their new stadium with a grand game that they can put together. This team has been inconsistent, although defensively they've been keeping themselves in games by being more definitively organized. Offensively, they haven't been able to score. Just 3 goals scored with the 6 conceded. They've been piecing it together, hoping to turn a corner, and I think playing at home to break in your new stadium can be that boost that they need.
And if you're looking for potential goal scorers to open up the stadium, Lilian Recall is as good of an option as any.
Lilian Recall already made team history scoring their first USL League One game. Why not keep the historic goals coming? And for Fort Wayne, you have to keep an eye on the different pieces they have. They can create something out of nothing, and Recall is that guy for them that just provides a spark, has a goal and an assist for them on the season in terms of regular season play, and someone that can just help create spaces and pockets to score.
Meanwhile, on the Charlotte Independence side of things, injuries have been a hamper, but that hasn't deterred them so far this year.
For Charlotte, it's been a very different script, although same record. When you look at how they've gotten here, they've been able to score, they've been able to show the flurries of just the clinical composure in the attacking third, but defensively it's been rocky for them at times as they've struggled to keep the ball out of their own net with the 8 goals scored, 6 conceded. Their lone win at home this season. They've also struggled on the road, and hoping today they can change some of that bad luck.
And someone they'll be leaning on is Enzo Martinez. Got a brace last weekend. He's 1 goal shy of 50 in his history with the Jacks.
Well, it's been a next man up mentality for Charlotte with their injuries. And when you have a veteran, a goal scorer, a leader like Enzo Martinez, fresh off of scoring a brace, you can lean on him. Enzo has the composure, the experience, but also is someone that can help them find a rhythm in the attacking third as they're still seeking that consistently. So I think Enzo Martinez will be the one wanting the ball at his feet to make plays happen.
It's time to introduce a new stadium to the USL family, and boy, is she a beaut. Will Fort Wayne open their palace with much-needed points, or will the Jacks trample on the pageantry? Find out with us up next on ESPN+.
Partnership between O&E, Orthopedics Northeast, and Parkview Sports Medicine is unique because our team is taking care of the athlete in their own environment on the field. O&E is the other end of our treatment when someone actually does have an injury that requires a specialist care.
We have athletic trainers, we have the physical therapists, and everyone's important. Everyone has a role to play because our goal's the same. We're just trying to get these athletes back to doing what they love to do.
At Ruoff Mortgage, we understand that you don't just need a mortgage. You need someone who knows your kid's name, your dream for a backyard, and that this is more than a house. At Ruoff, we've got your person, the one you'll lean on from your pre-approval to the closing table. Your loan officer will be there with you every step of the way. The right home begins with the right person by your side.
If you want to learn how to fan the football way, ask the fans with a Modelo. Only they know how to celebrate with strangers as if they were lifelong friends, to lose their voice for weeks after chanting for 90 minutes. They are always ready to teach you the ways of football, because to them, passion is meant to be shared. So go ahead, ask the fans with a Modelo.
Let's welcome you to Ruoff Mortgage Stadium, the first soccer game in its history, just moments away from getting started here. Fort Wayne hosting Charlotte Independence. Mark Schoenster, Renee Washington with you here on the broadcast. The players are trotting out onto the pitch. So let's give you an idea of who you're expecting to see. Here are your starting 11s. First off, for Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne has a trio of changes from their last league game. And so with that, we've got Jaden Smith, Anthony Hernandez that are into the mix for them. Smith up top, also Lilian Ricole, who we highlighted in the open that get the nod to start today. They're coming in for Clarence Abudor, Ryan Betcher, and Jack Thomas for this starting 11.
JP Jordan's doing so well at that right back spot. They're sliding him into the middle of the pitch for this game. Now, over on Mike Jeffrey's side of things, a lot of familiar faces, but a barren bench.
Definitely, and a number of changes for them as well as you look at Joey Skinner getting the nod, Christy Manzinga, and Enzo Martinez, also who we highlighted pregame, gets the go to start off in place of Luis Alvarez, Tabo Nare, and Swabu Maru. And then also in net, you've got Levy anchoring the back line that they'll rely on Matthew Levy to get this group going.
You can see the Three River Regiment getting themselves going for their first ever match at home. Had a good contingent on the road at Louisville last week in the Prinks Tires USL Cup. And now they get to be the home side for the first time in USL League One history. A team that was in USL League Two for its first 5 years has made the jump here to the pro ranks here in 2026 and now get to open up a beautiful stadium. Not quite at full capacity yet, but every single ticket they could sell, they did sell. As we also see them debuting their black home kits.
And it's a beautiful one, Mark. Look at the surface, the grass. Listen, I love a good soccer pitch because there's nothing like it. Smooth, perfectly ready to go. And also for them, they've got a beautiful day out. You could not have drawn out a better home opener. I know there were some final logistics and questions around it, but this group has been waiting to finally be able to say, welcome home, Fort Wayne.
Around 50 degrees right now in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Once you start running, that's going to feel pretty good as a player on the pitch. Maybe got to throw on a sweatshirt if you're a fan sitting in the stands. Our head official for this evening's match, Christopher Calderon. Now we just wait for all the boxes to be checked off, and we get this one going. The whistle sounds, and it's official. Ruoff Mortgage Stadium is in business. Fort Wayne FC, their home opener against the Charlotte Independents. An exciting day for the hosting club, and an exciting day for the visitors as well, who are always chomping at the bit to get the chance to go to a new venue and soak in the energy and also potentially crash the party.
Well, that's the key for Charlotte, a chance to play spoiler, because you know that for Fort Wayne FC, they're going to be shot out of cannon and they're going to be excited. They're going to want to give their fans and their home crowd a positive product to see and witness for the first time in this beautiful Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. So you want to come in and just disrupt all of that and break up the party.
I've heard some Fort Wayne fans already referring to the stadium as the Roo, which I think is a pretty nice nickname.
I like that.
I can dig it.
Meet you at the Roo for a game. I love that.
There has been a buzz around town. Mike Avery, the man in charge of Fort Wayne, said that obviously he and the players are all really excited as we get a look at the man and what is now his new fortress that they're trying to establish. So there's a buzz in town. Everywhere I've gone, people are approaching me, asking me about the stadium. So the excitement's both internal within the club and also around the community externally.
I love that head coach Mike Avery spoke about just the way the community has embraced this club as their professional team to rally around to support, and they're excited just as much as the players for this home opener.
Martinez tried to feed it inside for Manzinga. Getting his first start as a Jack, Christy Manzinga, 31 years old, French striker. As this one is slotted down the left-hand side. First attacking foray for Fort Wayne. And the shot or the cross, whichever one it was intended to be, it's blocked away for a corner kick. Take Healy, the one making the run down that left-hand side.
Well, Fort Wayne wasting no time to break in their new pitch. They also haven't had a chance to play on this surface, so new for them as well. And I think they've got to feel pleased with the early goings, 2 minutes in, to be able to set up for a corner kick here.
That'll be one of the targets on this corner, Lilian Ricol. I also wonder if the 6'8" Juan Solis will make his way up there. He's lined up right at the middle of the 6-yard line. Rempel with the service. Headed towards goal, nodded upward. Still on the scuffle. It's knocked away by the Jacks. A dangerous moment here for Fort Wayne. Lofted back inside, headed in the middle! And they've scored! Minutes into their home debut, Fort Wayne FC open up the stadium. Take Healy, the one who finishes the job there. A flurry of chances, and Fort Wayne have officially opened the building.
Welcome home, Fort Wayne FC. They get it going 3 minutes in. Take Healy just to stick with this play, as that was a recycled service off of the initial corner kick. They were able to keep alive, and just the awareness for them as a team. There were about 6 different players involved in that play, just continuing to keep the ball alive, working it back towards goal, and to set up for the final header, the final straw of Take Healy to break through to get on the scoreboard.
Take Healy, his first pro goal was against the Chattanooga Red Wolves in their last league match, and it was just moments into the game. This is late for his standards. 3 minutes into the game, he puts his team on the board. And what a start to the new venue. A soccer-specific stadium that will eventually be able to hold around 9,000 people. Still not fully complete, but it's ready enough for Take Healy to score goals in.
Well, for Fort Wayne, you knew they were going to come out on the front foot, aggressive, high energy, creating a shot, a corner, and then eventually a goal, all in the first 3 minutes. Now they just have to maintain that high level.
Martinez swinging inside for Manzinga. Christy Manzinga straight down the middle, and Bert Shipman gets his hands on the ball.
Well, before the smoke could even fully, completely clear from the finish off of Thiago Diash's assist to Take Healy, Charlotte answering back with a chance of their own for their first shot of the game. If this is how this game is going to continue and indicative of the pace we're going to see, we're in store for a very up-tempo, back-and-forth game.
A stoppage in play for now as Mike Jeffries looks at one of his players down. Mentioned how excited he and his players were to come to this venue and play. So he's been doing this coaching thing for a long time, and it's always exciting to see a new soccer-specific stadium, because he remembers when it was just the Columbus Crew who had a soccer-specific stadium in the U.S.
That's the thing, a lot of people don't realize, and I could say even from experience over the last 10 years, you've seen the emergence of more and more on the men's and women's side, soccer-specific, not only stadiums, but the facilities, the practice resources and aspects that a professional athlete deserves and needs. And to see this, look at this shot of just how beautiful it is and where they've been able to build this stadium. It's exciting to see how much has grown in the sport in such a short time.
For the Jacks in particular, they kind of have to don the villain role in this game. It's kind of like being the team playing the Harlem Globetrotters. You got to come in and be the side that tries to really harsh the vibe of the fans in attendance in what is a special day. But so far, it's pretty good for Fort Wayne. Down the left-hand side, here's Joey Skinner. Ortiz finding over the left-hand side, Manzinga. That's by one defender. Christy Manzinga still going, and the Jacks have a response. in his first start with the Charlotte Independents. Christy Manzinga levels the scoreline.
Scored by number 9, Christy Manzinga.
We are off to an emphatic start in the new building.
Christy Manzinga working here to get around the edge, drive towards that near post, and then through the legs into the back post, able to finish. We've seen him create the lone previous shot for Charlotte. This time gets another shot, another chance, and makes no mistake about it to put Charlotte on the scoreboard, bring this game back level just about 4 minutes after conceding a goal. The response back for Christy Manzinga in his first start to show he deserved to get the nod and the green light to lead off today.
So back on even terms here. You sometimes wonder when you get to a new venue, how long is it going to take before you get that first goal? Well, we didn't have to worry that long here. 2 on the board already. Turf was laid down just a couple days ago and has now already been broken in by Fort Wayne and Charlotte.
Well, I think there are people still getting to their seats, and already they've missed not 1 but 2 goals. So if you were late to the party, you missed some of the fun, but it does feel like for Charlotte, you look at how they responded after giving up that goal. Christy Manzinga had the previous shot they had on target and then was able to get the second one. They've been, since that goal, trying to string together and doing a better job stringing together more chances forward. So Fort Wayne has to make sure to continue the high level of energy.
Jaden Smith still running with it. Smith squares it into the middle, and it's kept off the line and then plunged through. The goals keep on coming at the room. It is electric in Northeast Indiana.
Goal scored by number 2, Jaden Smith.
Fort Wayne back up top. Look at this effort.
A goal again for Fort Wayne. You get a goal, you get a goal. Now Jaden Smith, you get a goal. Delivered on the first chance across the box, and just the hunger to stay with that play and be resilient. That is 2 minutes after the goal that Charlotte scored from Christy Manzinga. We were just saying that Fort Wayne has to keep the energy high, and what better way to keep the energy high than to answer back with another goal. So 3 goals in 10 minutes, back and forth we go. My goodness. Again, if you were late to the party, you've now missed 3 goals. Welcome to Ruoff Mortgage Stadium.
3 goals in 10 minutes, and fans have been waiting for, what now, the last 2 months, if you don't even want to count the build-up prior to that, to get their first home game in USL League One play. And boy, has it been instant gratification once this match has started. And you mentioned the welcoming community that Fort Wayne has provided to this club. Mike Avery mentioned it's an incredible community for sports. They've embraced minor league baseball, ice hockey. They get good media coverage for a League One side, so they're followed well by the fans, and they've been taken in. And it's a city far enough from a major market that you don't just adopt one of those teams when it comes to your soccer fandom. And they've had a good base here, even during the USL League 2 days when you're still an amateur club.
Well, this is such a great way to thank the community for their support, because they say good things come to those who wait, and they've been waiting for a long time for this stadium to open up. Questions swirling. I know you mentioned Mike Avery getting approached as he's going throughout his normal day around the community by fans asking the status of the stadium and how it's looking and how it's coming along. Well, for all those that had to wait patiently, it's been worth the wait, because just 10 minutes in, this game not only has been high scoring, but truly has been very exciting already, and there's so much left to play.
And they could be onto something else here. Jaden Smith slides it inside. Healy back to Smith. Didn't get to connect with it cleanly. Second time they've had a run down that right-hand side with Jaden Smith being the spear point. As now Jaime will run it in the other direction. The Independents able to find a response quickly after the first goal. Can they find a second one?
Well, both teams, Mark, are doing a good job of stretching the space when they win it. You look at Charlotte's shape right now. They've got great width. They've got a number of players pressed higher to join into the attack, and it's creating these pockets and seams for them to be able to find. It's a beautiful field. It's a large field, and they're using every bit of it. But I do wonder, will fatigue set in? Because it's been so back and forth, and not even just physical, I mean mental fatigue of the back and forth. At some point, will it catch up to one of these teams to be a difference maker? It's hard to keep this high of a level.
And just the emotional high of coming into a new stadium and immediately having that excitement of then scoring a goal that at some point you wonder if it's going to wear on them in that facet as well.
It's like a sugar rush soccer version.
Offside there, Manzinga hunting for a second goal. The USL on the CBS Sports Network continues on May 13th with a primetime showdown. Newcomer AC Boise takes on high-flying FC Naples at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, May 13th. Catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network. Always love when League One gets some representation on the big league networks.
With products like this, it's well-deserved to give more eyes and more opportunity for people to be able to tune in and watch games.
Yeah, if you need to pitch someone, hey, why would I watch USL League One soccer? Just tell them to watch the first 10 minutes of this game, and that's a pretty good elevator pitch there.
Yeah, for all the people that I often hear that are non-soccer fans, and their argument is always there's not a lot of scoring. You play 90 minutes and sometimes it's 0-0. We played 10 minutes, and it's 14 now, but 10 minutes in, we were sitting at 2-1.
Pressure applied there to Javier Romero, but he's able to swerve around it and connects with Jaime. Martinez. It's tapped right back to him. Vaquero tapping it forward, trying to thread it to Martinez, and he's trying to shrug off Solis, and he successfully does so. And Charlotte have equalized for a second time. Superb strength from Enzo Martinez, scoring his 50th goal in a Jacks uniform.
The goals keep pouring in. At this rate, what can the final score potentially be? Well, right now, Enzo Martinez, we talked about the brace he scored a week ago, adds another tally to his ledger. Just the strength. Officials let them play on shoulder to shoulder, body to body, keeps his balance, regains possession, does enough to just flick it into the back of the net and out of the reach of Bernd Shipman. Charlotte answers back yet again, and much like we've seen before, the high goal-scoring game continues.
You cannot let your eyes leave the screen for even a moment. Enzo Martinez with Juan Solis, the 6'8" center back, bearing on him. He says, get off me. I'm going for goal here. All-time leader in goals and assists for the Charlotte Independents. Now has 50 goals, 30 assists. Pretty good tally to have. Smith rolls it up the pitch. Kept in bounds. And a little clip from behind by Jaden Smith as he was combining with JP Jordan. Results in a foul.
Well, I won't do the math very quickly, but at this rate of 4 goals in the first 15 minutes, I'll let those tuning in do the math on their own. If this were to continue at this pace, it's a great exercise for kids. If there's 2 goals scored apiece, 15 minutes in, what's the potential if it continues at this rate for the final 90-minute scoreline? But I just think both these teams have been struggling to put together consistency. We see the quality, we see the ideas, the composure, and they've been able to capitalize. It feels like things offensively are clicking for them. Now they need to figure out something defensively to stop this flurry of goals that we're seeing.
Yeah, you can be happy with the production offensively, but as a coach, always you got to be a critic, and you see what's going on here, and you go, okay, well, we've conceded 2 goals. Like, that's not where we want to be on that side of the ball. Again, you can certainly acknowledge the nerves, maybe the electricity just of the occasion here today, and use that as sort of an explanation, but coaches aren't in the business of excuses. So
not at all. I mean, the electricity has definitely jump-started a lot of what we're seeing in this 2-2 scoreline. It is interesting, though, because Charlotte has the better of possession in their favor, about 63% possession in favor of Charlotte. So they've been doing a better job just in the run of play of combining, getting forward, whereas Fort Wayne, their 2 goals and their chances have been more transition style, racing forward the other way.
Armas trying to push it up ahead to Recall. Couldn't connect with him. The Jacks coming off a 2-1 victory on the road at City Stadium against the Richmond Kickers in the Brinks Tires USL Cup. That's always such a determining game if you open up with another League One team as your opponent in that game, because you really got to try and push for 3 points, because you know you've got tough USL Championship teams after that fact in that competition. And Mike Jeffrey said, yeah, it was a really open game, and which is common to expect in a tournament game like that, because you want to go after it. He was very complimentary of how the Kickers played in that match, but you're able to win the ball off some pressure, get that first goal, find a second, and then just hang on and absorb the pressure in the second half.
I think that was the key for them, to have a lot to learn from that game as well, that they could pull from, of things they want to make sure they're doing better. Still weren't complacent with the result, of course, and knowing there was more that they kind of left out there on the pitch. And they liked some of the positives, how they were getting forward, how they were creating, but they still had more work that they wanted to do, disappointed with the final result.
And that one makes a little bit of contact and ends up floating out of harm's way. Ortiz rips in another cross, deflects to the top of the 18. Martinez rolls it over to the right-hand side. Baquero, another service, flicked along, knocked away by Bert Shipman, cleared out for a corner.
That might be the first save we've seen in a long time. Charlotte just recycles their runs, able to get great numbers in the box, and well done by Bernd Shipman to just see that one. Now you see him immediately, the quick celebration, because there was a lot of heat and pressure coming with that chance, and did well to keep it from going in.
It'll be Baquero from the left corner flag. Lofted in, and out for another corner. Really quality team with good attacking options. That's how Mike Avery described this Charlotte Independence side. He mentioned that if you let them have the time, they're gonna keep the ball moving and can put you in some really awkward positions as well if you have the ball, because they'll throw some pressure at you. Right now, Fort Wayne on the defensive here as the Jacks looking for their 3rd goal in this game and trying to take the lead for the first time. Solis rising up the highest to get a piece of that one. And the ball knocked away. Recall couldn't track it down. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN8, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Well, for Fort Wayne, they do need to figure out a way to start to generate some possession of their own. As you were just touching on with how Charlotte likes to play, they want to create, work the ball around, make you chase them. And Fort Wayne at this 2-2 scoreline, you cannot spend the remainder of this game chasing and just hoping you can get a goal or chance in transition. You have to find a way to get numbers forward, find those pockets to break their lines of pressure, and see if you can return the pressure and the attack that Charlotte is bringing your way.
Mike Avery said he wanted to get off on the front foot in this game, and well, they've done that by scoring twice, but once again, we're back at even terms here. If you're tuning in late, you're not misreading the scoreline. It is 2-2 20 minutes into the game. 4 goals in the first 15 minutes of action. So in some instances, we've been in the most uneventful stretch of the game so far, the last like 5 minutes.
This is the longest we've gone without a goal since the first goal came 3 minutes in, since the whistle blew. It is something, though, for both of these teams. It's very much a bittersweet scoreline. 2-2, meaning you've come out, you've been able to score 2 quick goals. For Charlotte especially, but for both of them, you can say they responded even when they conceded a goal to score again. However, at some point, you have to get stops and string together the possession, the stops, the chances to see if you can break this pattern we've seen of back and forth goals.
The Jacks will restart this one. Vigo Ortiz, well, at least we thought it was going to get going again. Our head official, Christopher Calderon, will make sure it's restarted on his command. Ball sent up the pitch. Skinner taken off the ball by Hernandez. Good defending from the right back, getting his 3rd start of the season. In league play, that is.
And the unfortunate part to just give it right back as that ball was lumped a bit too centrally to allow for Charlotte to, for a moment at least, regain possession.
Martinez guilty of the foul, which relinquishes the ball back to Fort Wayne. Scouting out this Fort Wayne team, Mike Jeffries mentioned and acknowledged just how hard it is to build an expansion franchise. But despite that, he thinks that Mike Avery is a pretty good group here and have a lot of ability in possession, playing out the back. He's very complimentary of the midfielders for this Fort Wayne team, calling them technical two-way players, and thought that was going to be a very fun element to this game, is how the midfield would collide with each other on the pitch for these two teams.
It's definitely been fun to see the collision of these two teams and how they play tactically. Obviously, it's led to the 2-2 scoreline that we're even sitting at. For head coach Mike Avery to talk about wanting his team to do better of pressing Charlotte, forcing mistakes, and then capitalizing on them to get forward, being quicker in transition, getting numbers into dangerous areas. They've been able to do that so far, and I know that's one aspect that they wanted to be able to exploit, that they have, you can check the box, successfully been able to do thus far.
Martinez playing deep here. We'll roll it over to Romero. Manzinga now checking in. Christy Manzinga now the one just in front of the back line. Pushes it forward. Recall able to pluck it away. Trying to get Oyatunde running.
We've seen the ball a lot more in this central, right around middle of the field position for both teams, as it does feel like they're making the adjustments defensively. It's been more difficult to break through their back line. I know, especially for Fort Wayne, they talked about wanting to be able to pull Charlotte's center backs out of position to see if they can create those pockets. Charlotte, of course, likes to do the same with their possession, unbalance Fort Wayne, and just feels like, Mark, there's been a tweak defensively that's allowed them to do a better job keeping things in front of them.
This one rolled over to Oyatunde. They're trying to unlock it once again. Oyatunde still persistent. To the middle it goes. The shot straight at the keeper. Lilian Recall having a go at that one. But it goes straight at Matt Levy. He doesn't have to do too much shifting to keep that one from going in his net.
Well, that is exactly why, as I was just talking through, both teams wanted to keep everything in front of them. You see just the danger and prowess of Daniel Oyatunde to be able to get in behind and nearly break through yet again for Fort Wayne.
Conversation happening between Christopher Calderon and the assailants for the Charlotte Independents down this left-hand side. 26 minutes in to the first ever game at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium.
Well, for Fort Wayne and their fans, the Hive, the different supporters groups they have, if this is how you're opening things off at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium, setting the bar pretty high so far in terms of just overall excitement. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a game have multiple goals scored in the first 15 minutes, let alone 4 goals. And it's quality. It's not an ugly, sloppy game. Both teams have been coming out just clinical and able to put their chances away in this early going.
That's a great way to also win over some new fans who are curious and coming to a soccer game for the first time here in the Fort Wayne area, or maybe for a Fort Wayne interested individual who's watching from home right now. Get to see what you're missing out on, but the good news is there's a lot more home games to come here in May. This is just the first of 5 in a row that Fort Wayne will be playing here at the stadium here in the month. As Smith taps it forward. Jaden Smith has 2 defenders on him. Smith gets to the end of that one. Where did that go off of last? It's gonna be a corner kick. They didn't score directly off of their first corner kick this evening, but the corner kick was definitely the push of the pendulum that resulted in their first goal.
It was that corner kick around the 2-minute mark, and they sustained possession, kept it alive until they finally were able to break through with Tague Healy's goal. And well done just to be patient, break lines, and yet again find this time Jaden Smith in behind. We saw Oyatunde on the left side previously. This time it's Smith that's able to just wreak some havoc with that run in behind, timed perfectly for yet another corner.
It'll be Javier Armas from the right corner flag. As one option, checking in short and then retreating. Headed back across the middle. Matt Levy able to get his hands on it.
Well, that time, Matt Levy made sure that that one was not going to continue. As you recall from that first goal, it was headed back and forth and knocked around before finally finished, of some second, third, fourth chances for Fort Wayne.
Benzinga on the perimeter of the penalty area. Pulls this one back to Baquero. Scuffled pass doesn't reach its intended target. Some good movement here. The dribbling, very well done by Armas, as he then sended it over to the left-hand side for Oyatunde. Quick throw it. Oyatunde. Poked away by Jaime. Ends up being a Jack's throw deep in their own territory.
We are seeing for the home side, they are picking up the possession and just creating more, doing a better job, whether off the dribble like we just saw with Javier Armas there, or just giving quicker options to sustain possession and get higher up the park. Something that they needed to get back to doing like they did in the early minutes of this contest.
Healy dragging it back to Jordan. Armas will pull it backward to Hernandez as they look to see how they can pull the Charlotte team out of shape. Solis, the center back. Slides it back over to the left. Martinez jumps on the passing lane. Could be a moment to counterattack here if you're Charlotte. Martinez out to Ortiz. Vigo Ortiz. Ball's back up top. Christopher Jaime is able to gash by one defender. Slides it to the left-hand side. Smith doing good work, helping back on the defensive side.
Both teams just continuing to trade punches and going back and forth. Moments of Fort Wayne having the ball in their attack, making Charlotte defend, and then it switches. And with Enzo Martinez picking off that pass, now Charlotte regains possession. So one thing that we can say for certain, the scoring has definitely slowed down. The possession has still continued to be at a high level of just patience, working it around.
Baquero has it plucked away. Healy pulling it out to Smith. Jaden Smith, just 20 years old. Slides it back into the middle for Jordan as they'll switch the end of the attack throw.
You see how Charlotte just gets so many numbers behind the ball. You can look across your screen, and they've got 9 players behind the ball, dropped in, ball side, compact, just shrinking the field. That's where Fort Wayne can look to do exactly as they're doing here. Quick switches of the attack or finding some pockets to just unbalance them and pull them out of shape.
Smith trying to pick up some speed here. And that glances out for a corner kick. When it comes to quick movement of the ball, that was a focus going into their last game against Lou City, which is quite the task for your first ever match against the USL Championship team. Louisville City, one of the best that the USL Championship has to offer. A game they lost 3-1, but it was 1-1 for a lot of that affair. A game where the goals were preventable, according to Mike Avery, and he was pretty happy, though, that after the game, in reflection, they were able to play their game. They looked like Fort Wayne up against Lou City. It wasn't a scared performance, as that'll just be awarded as a free kick.
And that's the big key for head coach Mike Avery that he spoke on with Fort Wayne. They weren't just complacent being on the field with Louisville. They weren't just happy to play 90 minutes and to score a goal. They actually were disappointed that they did not have a better result, felt like they could have won that game. And that confidence and just knowing there were key areas they could have tweaked, done better to get the result they needed, just speaks volumes to their belief in their team, that they're not complacent or settling. And you see it today already of how they've probably been able to take some of those learnings and adjustments and apply them today.
And he mentioned that they learned that they can play in big environments. Lynn Family Stadium, a lovely venue in the United States soccer landscape, and are sure looking to replicate that sort of notoriety here at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium as this glances out for a corner.
Both teams have also been creating corners by just getting around the edge. This time it's Charlotte that's able to do so, trying to get end line, whether off the dribble, off the service, just forcing, in this case, Fort Wayne to defend, facing their own goal, facing their end line, and does set up for yet another corner kick.
It'll be Javan Romero from the right corner flag. He has an option to go short, but Oyatunde is right there to mark onto that option. Romero swinging it in. Solis once again gets a piece of it. Amaya with a curling effort. Going to be on the receiving end. Martinez, up the pitch it goes. A lovely interception. And now Rempel sliding into the middle for Healy. He plays it up to Oyatunde. And the first one there is Modin.
Fort Wayne had decent numbers on that counterattack, just weren't able to spring forward enough into space.
Recall swerving in centrally, combining with Healy. They'll give it right back to him. Healy trying to dribble by one defender. But Rayoud Manin able to stand firm.
Massive stop there for Rayoud Manin. If he doesn't come through with that tackle cleanly, also to not foul to win the ball, you keep this game tied 2-2.
A couple of bodies crumbling to the ground here. Whistle from our head official, Christopher Calderon. Ortiz pleading his case. He's one of the players, along with Rayoud Manin, who we just mentioned for his contributions defensively, who have had the opportunity to step in for this Jacks team so far this season, because there are a lot of players unavailable right now for Mike Jeffrey's team, which has meant that a lot of these players have had to put in a lot of burn. I mean, right now, Luis Alvarez, Fabrice Nga, Sega Koulibaly, Matthias Guffoy. Kevin Riascos just had surgery. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. That's a lot of players whom all you expect to be pretty key contributors to this team this year. And although Ortiz has certainly made the most of his contributions, perhaps it's a situation where You're hoping to rotate him in and out as the season went along, and instead he's had to start, and he's done a great job stepping in and filling in. He's one of those attacking options on another one of those guys, Jefferson Amaya, a player who has been really solid. He's one of those holding midfielders. It's been all hands on deck because of how thin the roster has been, and you just wonder what this Independence team is going to look like once those players start trickling back in.
And that's where the confidence comes from, to know you're able to get results. You're in games, you're scoring goals with their 8 coming into today on the regular season, now added 2 more, and you still aren't at 100% full strength. And as a coach, as a team, you can't wait until those guys get healthy and they're back in your lineup. You have games to play and you don't want to continue dropping results. So through this, it's giving other players like Rayoud Manin and others a chance to step up, earn more minutes, adds to the depth, adds to the belief that now you have more players that can step into those bigger roles if needed.
Now there's the figurative 100% strength of when you get all your key pieces back and healthy, but there's also the literal being able to man a roster at 100% capacity, because right now they only have 5 players on the bench, Charlotte Independence, so they're even shorthanded just in who they can put into the game in a given match.
Well, I will say from experience, it is remarkable the strength that you build in those moments when you have to. There are no other options. With 5 subs, you can't rely on other players. You know you are needed for extended minutes and bigger roles. And so not only does it build your endurance physically, but also mentally to be able to manage the ups and downs of a game to make sure you're as sharp as possible down the stretch.
Skinner gets by Smith, lasers it into the middle! Great save by Shipman. Enzo Martinez nearly having a brace.
We highlighted Enzo Martinez pregame, and this is what he's capable of. A great slotted ball into Martinez. Well done to find him from Joey Skinner, and then that first-time finish curls it well around the defense, and that's a tough one for a goalie to be able to see, but Shipman handled it perfectly to knock it out of harm's way.
Trying to hit it with the outside of his boot again, Martinez. He's feeling the outside portions right now.
It brings a great bend to it and curve that I think has been what's helping him even on the goal in that near chance.
Chipped over top. Shipman won't even pick it up. He'll leave it at his feet.
If I'm Burnt Shipman, I'm doing the same thing. Catch your breath. You just had to make that massive save before the ball was coming back your way. Get your team organized, get them to settle in, because that chance by Enzo Martinez, a nice point-blank first-time look, you want to minimize that if you're Fort Wayne.
Jaime rolls it over to Ortiz. Manzinga, one of the goal scorers in this game, sends it into the box. Settled down by Amaya. Another good take, but an even better save. Several looks here for the Jacks, but Burnt Shipman has kept it at a 2-2 scoreline. Manzinga again, feeding it into the middle.
How about Jefferson Amaya, one of those players we highlighted that's been stepping up with injuries. Great rocket he had on frame. Charlotte is knocking on the door again.
Skinner. Sending it into the middle, pops up to Amaya. Does he have another go? He does. Javier Armas, aware of the danger this time. Offside flag pops up. And that'll be the end of what was a barrage by the Independents.
Take a look back at this. Well done by Jefferson Amaya to just settle that first touch, and then off the volley with great pace and accuracy, drives it on frame, forcing another big save for Burnt Shipman. That second wave of runners, the midfielders be able to step into the attack and be ready to win the second ball. That's exactly what you need. And Jefferson Amaya does a tremendous job of really generating a strong look out of it.
Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL League One. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest select products, specials, and more. Select the player's choice. Four goals in the first 15 minutes of this match. Both times Fort Wayne taking the lead, and both times the Independents finding a response. It's the first time both of these teams have played on this pitch, both for a match day, but also in general. This week, Fort Wayne had the chance to practice on this turf should they choose to, but that was going to be time taken away from the construction team to open up more seats for the fans to come and attend this game.
I think that was a great point Mike Avery was making. They had opportunity, but because of the final logistics, and there's so much that goes into construction and final game day prep, they wanted to give the construction team time, very selfless of them, to ensure they could get everything ready for their fans. They wanted the fans to be able to have the great home opener experience, even if it meant at their expense of not being able to get on the pitch. So not only are they breaking in this new field, but also learning it. Learning how the ball bounces, how the ball moves on the surface, the spaces and pockets, just like everybody else as they come into this beautiful stadium.
Hernandez. Oh, that one came off the boot wrong. Talked about the benefits of hitting it with the outside of your boot, but that's when you're trying to do it intentionally.
Yes. That one was just throw that one away. We've all had that moment of the oops.
Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. And those are some nice-looking seats there here at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium.
You talked about it. It's a great day for playing. You're not too hot, not too cold, but as you saw from those fans in their lovely seats, a little chilly if you're watching this one. It's blankets, hoodies, to be able to enjoy this exciting game.
I know in a month or two they'll be missing wearing the sweatshirt because it only gets warmer from here and it becomes a summer slog as we really get into the weeds in the USL League One season. You go to some venues where it is going to be boiling, and so you gotta savor this 50-degree-ish weather while you can.
That's what I always say about soccer. It humbles you very quickly. You go from wanting warm weather to missing the cold very fast.
So we have hit 45 minutes at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium.
The fourth official has indicated 3 minutes of additional time.
We are just a couple more minutes away from a conclusion here in the first ever half in this stadium. Goal scored by Tague Healy, who opened up the stadium, followed by Christy Manzinga, and Jaden Smith, and then Enzo Martinez. Those are all the names who have already etched themselves into history here at this venue. And Ortiz now looks to craft up another moment. Manzinga carries it through. Straight on, right through the middle. Burnt Shipman there awaiting.
Full speed ahead from Vigo Ortiz to Christy Manzinga. They didn't have to break stride on that chance. Just off to the races for Charlotte. The Independents still looking for another goal into stoppage time. They're not complacent with just a 2-2 tie going into the break, hunting for that third.
Jaden Smith running into the back of Christopher Jaime. And a set piece opportunity for the visitors.
But for Charlotte, this is one they want to take their time on. It wasn't on to play quick early, so now that you had to wait, this allows you to figure out what you're going to do here to see if you can get one more good crack on goal.
Jaime trying to settle it in. And the halftime whistle sounds. It was a historic start. It was an electric start. 4 goals in the opening 15 minutes of this brand new Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. And now both teams will go to the brand new dressing rooms and see what they can do in the second 45 minutes of action to claim all 3 points for themselves. Will it be Fort Wayne or will it be the Charlotte Independents? You're gonna have to wait about 15 minutes to find out that answer on ESPN Plus, but we've got some great halftime content coming your way in the meantime, so stay locked in. We will see you then. Your scoreline after 45, 2-2 between these two sides.
At Ruoff Mortgage, we understand that you don't just need a mortgage. You need someone who knows your kid's name, your dream for a backyard, and that this is more than a house. At Ruoff, we've got your person, the one you'll lean on from your pre-approval to the closing table. Your loan officer will be there with you every step of the way. The right home begins with the right person by your side.
At Trine University, we are thunderous. But how do we get that way? One rumble at a time. Every challenge faced, every insight earned, every setback surmounted puts you on the path to exceed all expectations, yours included. It's why Trine graduates have an over 99% employment rate and make noise in whatever field we choose. What kind of noise, you ask? Here's a hint. Hear more at trine.edu.
Partnership between O&E, Orthopedics Northeast, and Parkview Sports Medicine is unique because our team is taking care of the athlete in their own environment on the field. O&E is the other end of our treatment when someone actually does have an injury that requires a specialist care.
We have athletic trainers, we have the physical therapists, and everyone's important. Everyone has a role to play because our goal's the same. We're just trying to get these athletes back to doing what they love to do.
Good look at the Hive here during halftime between Fort Wayne FC and Charlotte Independents. 2-2 in this historic home opener at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. The Roo, as some are calling it. Mark Schoenster with you here, along with Renee Washington. Let's take a look at the team of the week from the last league week of action. So this isn't from the last weekend because that was the USL Cup. This is from the weekend prior to that. So Matt Levy, the only name here in the starting lineup, along with John Vaqueras. There's actually 2 of them from this matchup that's worth looking into. Levy, 6 saves in their last league match against one Knoxville team that obviously are the reigning champions and were the side that made the deep run in the US Open Cup, which did come to an end in the midweek this past week. But with all the Team of the Week honors, we also now have monthly honors. Let's take a peek at who our Player of the Month nominees are. They all have a pretty good case. Ball sent up the pitch for Spangler. Ajmer Spangler drags it by the goalie.
Has options in the box. Kostashin goes for goal, and what a strike it is!
And it's a potential breakaway. Chris Garcia on a goal, looking for 2!
Goes in again. Timchenko back into the path for Dean Guzin.
This week on USL All Access, we talk about the turnaround in form for Brooklyn FC and how the change in results should come as no surprise. Match day 1 of USL Prinks Tires Cup kicked off on the weekend. Who are the biggest winners and losers, and what trend has emerged that can already show us who this year's finalists are going to be?
You'll see it SiriusXM FC or the USL YouTube page every Tuesday night.
Tigers in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
At Ruoff Mortgage, we understand that you don't just need a mortgage. You need someone who knows your kid's name, your dream for a backyard, and that this is more than a house. At Ruoff, we've got your person, the one you'll lean on from your pre-approval to the closing table. Your loan officer will be there with you every step of the way. The right home begins with the right person by your side.
Back here at the Roo, it's 2-2 after an exciting opening 45 minutes in this brand new soccer-specific stadium. Mark Schoenster, Renee Washington with you here on ESPN+. Let's go a little bit wide lens here and zoom out and think about what's going on in the rest of this league. Well, first, we're going to do upcoming schedules. Fort Wayne, I mentioned it, 5 straight home games. So a lot of time getting acclimated to the stadium here, Renee, including a rivalry match against Indy 11, a derby, all-Indiana affair. So a lot of exciting games coming up here for the home side.
By the time they get to that USL Cup match, they will have definitely familiarized themselves with this new surface, their new stadium, and just an incredible slew of games they have coming up for a league, for implications on standings, and definitely for the USL Cup.
Meanwhile, on the Charlotte Independent side of things, they're kind of running the gamut right now, playing all of the new teams this season, starting with Fort Wayne, then going back home to play Boise, then going on the road against Corpus Christi, who, by the way, have their home opener later today. Kicks off, well, actually, no, it's kicked off like right about now. So that's maybe one you want to split screen and throw on your second monitor along with this one, and then they get to dance with the Hounds in the Prinks Tires USL Cup. So they already made a good showcase in the Open Cup, trying to do the same thing in the other cup competition as we look at the scores across the league right now. Portland Hearts of Pine, what a showing they put on earlier.
Yes, and they were up 3-0. It was the remarkable play by JT Kamara and Ali Wright. They combined for all 3 goals for Portland Hearts of Pine. Completely came out and stunned the Cosmos. And you look at that FC Naples score as well, another one to keep an eye on. That's a battle of the 2 top teams against one Knoxville. So across the league right now, a lot of changes as teams are maybe catching some others by surprise.
One Knoxville really trying to make a statement on the road against FC Naples too. I mean, sheesh. Gruchenkov already scored in that game. As we now step aside, we've got the halftime update with Dan Lucas coming your way. So we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have the highlights, the stats, and the second half kick here on ESPN+.
It is halftime in League One. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio. Let's take a look at some of the League One headlines. Corpus Christi has not won a match yet in league play, but a very big opening USL Cup win over Chattanooga Red Wolves. That 1-0 victory is the first ever win for Corpus Christi. Even better, it lands Corpus atop Group 3 after one match. In Group 4 of the Cup, Union Omaha defeated Indy 11 2-1. Just over a month ago, Omaha traveled to Indy and knocked the championship club out of the U.S. Open Cup. And in Group 3, One Knoxville took the extra point from FC Tulsa in penalty kicks thanks to 3 PK saves by goalkeeper Johan Garibay. You don't want to face One Knox in PKs right now. 3 straight penalty kick shootouts, including wins over DC United and Asheville City to advance in the U.S. Open Cup. Upcoming USL national broadcast, May 13th, AC Boise and FC Naples. USL Cup play on the 16th with Richmond Kickers in Charleston, and Rhode Island hosts Brooklyn on the 23rd. All 3 matches are on CBS Sports Network. Those are the USL headlines. We're getting closer to the second half. Let's get you back out to your match.
Partnership between O&E, Orthopedics Northeast, and Parkview Sports Medicine is unique because our team is taking care of the athlete in their own environment on the field. O&E is the other end of our treatment when someone actually does have an injury that requires a specialist care.
We have athletic trainers, we have the physical therapists, and everyone's important. Everyone has a role to play because our goal is the same. We're just trying to get these athletes back to doing what they love to do.
At Ruoff Mortgage, we understand that you don't just need a mortgage. You need someone who knows your kid's name, your dream for a backyard, and that this is more than a house. At Ruoff, we've got your person, the one you'll lean on from your pre-approval to the closing table. Your loan officer will be there with you every step of the way. The right home begins with the right person by your side.
If you want to learn how to fan the football way, ask the fans with a Modelo. Only they know how to celebrate with strangers as if they were lifelong friends. To lose their voice for weeks after chanting for 90 minutes. They are always ready to teach you the ways of football because to them, passion is meant to be shared. So go ahead, ask the fans with a Modelo.
It's been a stunning home opener so far. What does the second 45 have in store for us here? 2-2 between Fort Wayne and Charlotte. Mark Schoenster and Renee Washington with you here on ESPN+. We are eager to get the ball rolling once again. If you're just now tuning in, you see the scoreline, you're thinking, what the heck has happened here? You're in luck. We're about to catch you up on all of that now with the first half highlights. And it started just moments after the game kicked off. 4th minute goal. Thiago Dias finds Tay Healy.
And well done by Fort Wayne to be able to keep this alive. It was off of an initial corner kick, and then Thiago Dias just plays it across. Tay Healy just finishes his run, and then on the scoreboard. But the moments later, here comes Charlotte answering back. Joey Skinner slots it forward to Christy Manzinga, who does the rest from there, slicing and dicing through Fort Wayne's defenders, and then able to squeeze that one into the back post. A great job of just being able to work along the Fort Wayne defense. And then here comes the home side back again, answering to regain the lead. It was Jaden Smith that put in the work to drive this one across the box. Look at him working there shoulder to shoulder, strong on the ball, and then a nice tap in to finish the chance, a scramble that he was able to finish. And then in the 15-minute mark, we get our 4th goal of this game. It's Enzo Martinez shoulder to shoulder, working there, able to regain his balance, and gets a nice outside of the foot finish to squeeze that one pass off the pass, I should say, from John Vaquero.
Now we look at the halftime stats here. I mean, look at that. 13 combined shots on target. So not only have we had 4 goals, but we've also had a couple of good opportunities since then. Brent Shipman in particular has had to make some stunning saves in order to keep this one at the 2-2 scoreline since it got to that point.
You rarely see a stat line like this, 8-5 in shots, and all except one of those on goal. Just remarkable for how they've been able. It hasn't been the highest quantity in terms of shots, but very quality in terms of shot selection, and of course even more clinical to finish 2 of them apiece.
So what is this stat line going to look like after another 45 minutes of this game? Is it going to really settle in and look different now that both sides have had a chance to decompress and get acclimated to the new stadium vibe? Or are we going to have another chaotic 45 minutes here?
The sun has set. I hear shout blasting across the stadium speakers, a classic to get you up on your feet and get going. And for these two teams, we did see a tale of two halves, so to speak, and not in a sense of a drop-off negatively, just a step up defensively that we saw some adjustments that just minimized the chances to break them down and get caught flat, to get caught unbalanced. So now they're going to need to be a bit more creative and dynamic in how they're able to break through for whoever's going to get that go-ahead goal.
Our officiating crew, led by Christopher Calderon, now making their way back onto the pitch now. The players are eager to get this one going again, and it's a little chilly in Fort Wayne, Indiana this evening. Now that the sun has set, it's now around 45 degrees. So they're all going to be jogging in place, trying to keep themselves warm until this game gets going once again.
45 degrees with the sun down. It's a much different 45 than with a nice sunny afternoon. So things might have cooled off a little bit here in terms of temperature, but I have a feeling they have not fully cooled off in terms of play.
Be curious to see how these two teams approach minute management as well. Both have to play in the middle of the week. No traveling for Fort Wayne. They've got Portland Hearts of Pine coming in on Wednesday. Meanwhile, going back home to play AC Boise is what's up next for the Charlotte Independents. And it's worth acknowledging that both these sides also are in very different places as far as their options coming off the bench. As the whistle sounds, and we are back running once again at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. 2-2 your scoreline. Once again, appreciate you tuning in. My name is Mark Schoenster. I'm joined by Hall of Fame soccer player Renee Washington. It has been a delight so far. And just to paint the picture of the disparity between the two teams' benches, the home team always gets allotted 2 extra bench slots for academy players at home, so there's 9 players available for Mike Avery. Meanwhile, Mike Jeffries is 2 players short of the amount he's allotted of 7. He's only got 5 players on the bench. So as far as the kind of adjustments these two teams can make, one has a couple more cards in the deck than the other.
Definitely could be a case of attrition when you don't even have enough players to fill the possible subs that you can make. That is something to absolutely keep an eye on, Mark, especially with just how this game has been going so far. You're just going to be asking players to have to log heavier minutes in what's already been a very back and forth up-tempo game.
Free kick opportunity incoming here for the Charlotte Independents as Manzinga is down and ailing. You don't want to keep banging the same drum, but this is a Jacks team that is really short-handed, and anytime a player goes down, you're holding your breath and really hoping it's nothing serious.
Well, we were just highlighting how they don't have a lot of options on the bench with just 5, and then you see Christy Manzinga as he's checking in here, does fall there and goes grabbing at his ankle as Juan Solis was pressuring on his back. I didn't see anything from the initial replay there, but maybe he stepped wrong or got caught. I tried to watch it again from the replay, but Christy Manzinga still down in pain. Not great for Charlotte with the low number of options they have.
Mike Jeffries looking along. You know the cogs are turning in his brain right now about what is he going to do? Manzinga getting his first start with the Jacks here. So they're going to keep tending to the French striker, who not only started for the first time, but also got his first goal with the Charlotte Independents. As he's trying to get an assessment of how serious the damage is here, and if it's something he can play through, or if he needs to be subbed out just moments into the second half.
Yeah, and the tricky part with especially ankles, feet, sometimes, and I know we were just highlighting it being a little bit cooler, when you get stepped on or kicked, it's like a dead leg almost, where it stings so much, but you don't know whether that's a temporary sting or if you really have hurt yourself. So for Manzinga, just an opportunity here to, as we see him very gingerly stepping off the field, slowly trying to loosen things up a bit and to be able to find out if he's able to get back on the pitch. It's unfortunate he, as you mentioned, not only with that first start, and the goal has been one of those consistent cogs in the wheel for Charlotte. Very active, making runs, stretching Fort Wayne's back line, creating chances. So now as he's jogging around, trying to see if he can get back on, I think for the Independents, that's a sigh of relief maybe to see him at least starting to get moving and closer to possibly getting back.
So right now they're a player short as Baquero swings it inside. Dealt with by Fort Wayne, and now they'll try to send numbers in the other direction. Healy slicing it across. Recall can't get it by Shipman. Play goes on. Goalie caught out of his box, but the Jacks are able to escape. Armas threads it up ahead. Played over to Oyatunde, and he rips it towards goal. There's still a player down for Fort Wayne. And now the whistle sounds. A chaotic exchange there in front of the 18-yard box. Lilian Recall appealing his case.
Lilian Recall, who was going here 1v1 up against Matt Levy, and thought there was a foul there, and with that type of a play, that would be a card. Not yellow, potential red card, of just the way that you had Recall in point blank towards goal, and then just to keep that play alive, they weren't done yet. Fort Wayne was still on the attack off the rebound while Recall was down. Just a flurry of chaotic moments that could have gone so many different directions. A goal, a card, a red card, potentially, just a lot of things that could have happened, yet we leave it unscathed.
Bernd Shipman will be thanking the stars that he did not suffer any sort of punishment there. Or excuse me, Matt Levy. Oyatunde running down the right-hand side. Still going with it. Fed into the middle, booted away. Rayoud Manin. Rolling that one back. As Fort Wayne, although we're not able to take away anything from that last situation, trying to build off of it, is now Martinez is on the ground.
Okay, well, a lot of things just happened in that stretch, and Fort Wayne continued to get on the attack with the chance off the service for Oyatunde. Now, as we see Enzo Martinez down, I do want to make note his teammate is back on the field in Christy Manzinga, who actually off camera, I saw him kind of tending to his ankle, checking things out awkwardly as he was running across the pitch, still maybe not 100%. So for Charlotte, they barely got unscathed through that last play as Matt Levy escaped without a card, an ejection, a foul, anything being called. But then now you have a second player down who not only was your first goal scored on, now here goes your second goal scorer of the day down. Could you write this up any crazier for how this second half has started?
Well, given what the pattern has been so far in the second half, I think Mike Jeffries is reading the tea leaves, and he's getting Swebu Maru ready to go over there on the bench. We'll see if it'll be a change for Manzinga, who's back and running again, or if Enzo Martinez might see his night come to an end, and the latter may seem to be the more likely occurrence, as Martinez is going to work his way to the sideline. Scored his 50th goal with the Charlotte Independents in the first half of this one. He will eventually cross that boundary. It's a nice wide pitch here. Maru.
Well, this is the tricky part of trying to look in the crystal ball and guess which player has a little bit more left in them. You had a choice between Enzo Martinez and Christy Manzinga. Who do you think, as two players, you don't want to have to take both of them off the field. You want to see if you can keep them going as long as possible without overdoing it, overextending them. But they do decide Enzo Martinez is the first that needs a substitution.
So that is one of the 5 players on the bench who have now been subbed into this game for the Charlotte Independents. Sway Maru, who has been the usual starter this season for the Jacks, as this one's popped towards goal, but off target. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 in the Sirius XM app.
On the start of the second half, it's felt like things have been going in favor of Fort Wayne. We've seen a number of knocks for Charlotte with 2 of their key players. We've seen a number of good chances, all coming from the boots of Fort Wayne. Much like in the first half, what they were able to do, needing to capitalize because you do not want to allow momentum to swing back in favor of Charlotte.
We'll see exactly how the shape takes place too, with Manzinga and Maru out there. One benefit, and this is definitely, it's not the situation you want to be in, but if you're going to have to try and glean positives regardless. The Charlotte Independents, given the fact that they've been shorthanded, they've had to move some players around into some spots that maybe they wouldn't have tried had they had more options as far as personnel is concerned. Something that could benefit them in the future. Mike Jeffries certainly acknowledged that. Well, you know, I guess you always got to find the silver linings and things, and that is one that you can glean away from this, on top of course, the players who have really stepped up with the minutes they've been given and are now more thoroughly integrated into USL League One play.
Well, for Charlotte, it's like they've been patching the tires. It hasn't fully blown, but they've been hanging on by a thread to keep this unit with all the injuries going.
Jaime still going. It's poked away by Solis. It'll be a deep throw for the Jacks.
This is exactly what Charlotte needed, an opportunity to flip the script and get back to regaining possession, especially knowing they have players that probably need to go the full gamut or will need to go the full gamut of 90 minutes. You need to make sure you're in the driver's seat, keeping possession, working it around, and dictating the tempo versus getting caught chasing, or similarly to the previous chance we saw for Fort Wayne, in those hold your breath on the edge of your seat chaotic moments.
Skinner will roll it back in centrally. Jaime. Across the middle of the field, will play it over to the left-hand side. He gets it back. Jaime trying to send it over to the right corner. Over awaiting is Clay Dimmick. And it's a goal kick. And watching the home opening match here at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. It's the first year in USL League One action for Fort Wayne, a team that was in League Two for 5 years prior. DeMarcus Beasley, the director of football operations, one of the key figures in this Fort Wayne franchise, and also, of course, quite the historic soccer career himself. The only men's player to play in 4 World Cups for the U.S. men's national team. Recall. Over to the left channel, sliding it across the middle, and earns his team a corner kick.
Well, as we were highlighting the core foundation for Fort Wayne, this group is building a lot of special momentum in this city, in this community. And it starts from the top down, and on the pitch, the players are doing a phenomenal job of just bringing the full product together. Liliana Recole out in open space, able to set up another corner kick opportunity for Fort Wayne.
Javier Armas. He'll be the one to provide the service on this corner kick. It was a corner kick that really uncorked this one in the first half. And it's ripped in centrally. And it'll be a corner from the other side.
That's something you do want to avoid. It's difficult to give up back-to-back corners and set pieces. Just tough to defend them, especially with where we're seeing the ball being dropped on these corners. You're asking a lot of your team, not to mention a player like Juan Solis that can get in the mix with his tall frame of 6'8", 6'9", to join into the opportunity to try to finish.
Now from the right-hand side, ball ripped in. Who to go off this time? Once again, the Charlotte Independents. A handful of goals here in front of the Hive, the Three River Regiment, the supporters group here in Fort Wayne.
They are buzzing, hoping that Fort Wayne can get that next goal. 3 corners in a row. You'd like to think third time could be a charm.
It wasn't on this occasion. They'll keep possession though and try to continue to flurry chances, but the Independents able to win the ball back, but only for a moment. Javier Armas up ahead to Oyatunde. His touch let him down there. Rayud Manin can't quite escort it properly. He draws the foul though. And so it's going to be Jack's ball here.
Rayud Manin just did a good job there defensively, using his body to cut in front of Daniel Oyatunde enough that you not only won the ball, did not foul, but also drew the foul to get your team going the other way. But Charlotte's turns it over yet again. We've seen this a couple times from them. You already had the trio of corner kicks you gave up. You can't continue to now turn the ball over in the run of play too.
A lot of pressure being applied here by the home side. This is the Jack's team, though, that can hurt you in a moment on the counterattack, and that might be what they're fishing for at this point in time, because it is a barrage from Fort Wayne. We had all of the action in the world in the first 15 minutes. Since then, both sides hunting for that third goal that could be all important in this game. Manzinga, one of the goal scorers. Swerving in, Manzinga pushed down, and the ref says it's not a pen. Play goes on, Amaya has it. Jefferson Amaya rolls it to the left-hand side. Baquero, back up to Ortiz. Jaime turning, dribbling forward, rolled over to Clay Dimmick. What seemed like a clear chance for the Jacks goes to the wayside in what is an important decision from Christopher Calderon, our head official.
Well, you can argue they both may have gotten away with one, because let's not forget, Fort Wayne had a chance the other way that Lilian Recole thought should have been a penalty kick, or excuse me, a foul and possibly a card of his own. So this one, though, in the box, I don't know, is that both teams, I think, may have gotten away with a massive game-changing no call. Do 2 wrongs make a right, Mark? I don't know.
I'd love for it to be 2 rights, and you could potentially be a 3-3 here, but
that's also true. Listen, this game is packed a punch of a lot of different things that have happened, very surprisingly so.
We're just trying to etch off our bingo card here. Jaden Smith from the right-hand side, trying to turn around the defender. Unsuccessful in his endeavors. Joey Skinner proving tough to beat. Jordan parries it back out to Smith. Smith with a touch. Tried the cross, and it's out for a corner.
It's time for another bowl of management
On the second half, we've seen so much more for Fort Wayne consistently. Although they still don't have the better of possession, even in this second half specifically, they've had the better quality of possession to get forward, to be able to create more chances to get into the final third, generating shots, generating a handful of corner kicks now. And they're now knocking on the door, needing to punch one home.
It'll be Javier Armas, who has been a highlight player to start this season for Fort Wayne. Pops it into the box, was looking for Solis. And he rammed into Matt Levy, who is ailing from that. Juan Solis getting a demonstrative warning from our head official, but will not receive a booking for it.
Yeah, you look at where this ball is dropped in. Juan Solis was right in the neighborhood, pressuring against Matt Levy there, made the contact. Officials really letting them play so far today.
eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Here's Sway Boomaru. First chance we've had to really say his name in this game. Finds Manzinga. Tried to be poked ahead to Oyatunde. And now the Jacks pushing forward once again. Player goes down. Once again, the ref says it's all clean. Out for a goal kick. And we're going to get some substitutions here for Fort Wayne.
Well, another chance Charlotte may have thought they needed a penalty kick. This was the previous play, though. You see here the shoulder-to-shoulder arm there as Solis is pressuring against Christy Manzinga. You can argue that Christy Manzinga truly lost his balance on that as he was trying to turn the corner and get around. There was some initial arm jostling with Juan Solis, but I think it actually looked worse in real time.
Yeah, I think there was definitely, yeah, I would agree with you there as these substitutions are being made. Ian Abbey on for Daniel Oyatunde, and making his debut for Fort Wayne is Emerson Nieto, a Fort Wayne native, subbing on from Indiana Tech. So although this is his first time playing for Fort Wayne FC, it's far from his first time playing in Fort Wayne, having, of course, picked up an NAIA, second team All-American this past season, playing for Indiana Tech. And now getting a chance to prove his worth here in what is, of course, a historic game. But yeah, to talk about that penalty, yeah, I think you're right. It looked more serious live than when you had the chance to look at it, where it was certainly much more debatable whether there was much contact there at all.
Well, between me and you in this safe space where there's absolutely nobody possibly listening, I jokingly say, I always say, if you have a player go down in the box, you absolutely should argue it, make a case, and try to shoot your shot to see if you can get a penalty kick called your way. You just never know. So, although in the run of play it looked worse, the officials definitely looked like they got the call right, but Charlotte had every right to at least contest and argue that it should be a penalty kick. And nobody, just between us two.
Yeah, no one else listening in. Not to mention the refs don't have the benefit of VAR, looking at replays, and they got to make that call in person. As it happens, Abbey has a lash at it, but it doesn't get very far. Armas, he tries, and that one well off target.
Keep an eye on Abbey. I've noticed in his first touches of this game since being subbed in, there's been the energy, the aggression, a nice flick, a nice shot attempt there, at least the right idea. Bringing in some of that spark off the bench, someone that, as we're looking at this deadlock 2-2, could help Fort Wayne break through.
And they're going to get the ball back immediately off the goal kick. Armas laying it up ahead to Healy. Smith with the cross inside. Abbey settles it down. Played over to the left-hand side for Lilian Ricol. Ricol with the swerving cross. And it back into the mixer quickly by Nieto. Solis pokes it forward. Healy trying to cut back inside. Now Juan Solis made the foray forward. He has to track back as the Independents try to push ahead.
That's unfortunate. It kind of bails out Charlotte, as Fort Wayne was doing a great job of playing quick and tight spaces, had numbers forward, and even with them losing it, with that ball up against the sideline so wide, there really wasn't much for Christopher Jaime and for Charlotte, but that foul now allows Charlotte to keep possession in what should have actually been another turnover for them.
Two-2 your scoreline here between Fort Wayne and Charlotte Independents. All 4 goals being scored in the first 15 minutes of this match. Since then, it certainly hasn't been lack of trying that both these teams haven't scored again. There have been moments for both sides to get a third goal. It just hasn't all fallen into place like it did in those first few chances of the game. Smith. In the middle it goes. Once again, Javier Armas showing his prowess, and he combines with Abbey. Ian Abbey into the 18. Ball got away from him, and Matt Levy scoops it up. Not too much danger there.
Ian Abbey again showing the prowess off the bench, continues to find the ball in good areas, but just a heads-up play also, as there were a couple of Fort Wayne players that were in offside position.
Oh, some tensions boiling over here as Manzinga and Solis get into it. Manzinga appealing that he's getting hit by the elbow there by Juan Solis. The ref digging into his pocket for the first time today. And it looks like it's going to Manzinga. Christy Manzinga, the first booking after nearly 70 minutes of action.
Well, it's crazy. This all started on the other end with a chance by Ian Abbey and then ends in face-to-face. Manzinga and Solis going at it. These two have been battling all game, and tensions have continued to boil over. We've seen even the chance that Manzinga had, they thought should have been a penalty kick. The play that he went down and got hurt. Guess who was there in all those situations? Juan Solis in his back pocket all day up and down the park, and frustration definitely settling in for those two.
Not often that 6'2" Christy Manzinga has to look up that much when he's going to face with somebody. Solis standing at 6'8", definitely a unicorn out there as far as the sport of football is concerned.
He's a tough defender to beat and just requires a lot physically as well as you're trying to hold the ball up, and Manzinga's been all around him all day today.
Dimmick ripping in the cross! Payback almost delivered there. Sway Boomeroo the one who gets a piece of it.
A little extra here after the play, but first looking at the service in. Well done there to finish the run. It was Sway Boomeroo that was nearly able to head that one on very close. And then a little extra after that ball came bouncing back in that I believe is going to lead to another booking.
Solis having a conversation with our head official. We did see a yellow card get brandished here now. We're going to wait confirmation on who it was given to.
Well, also with that argument between Manzinga and Solis, they both did get a yellow card, so they're both in the book for Juan Solis and Christy Manzinga.
Substitution for Charlotte Independents.
Change being made here. Baquero is going to sub out of the game. We've got Miles Lyons and Prince Sadie subbing on, as Manzinga will also make his exit. So Miles Lyons in the game and Prince Sadie subbing on. So that leaves just 2 players on the bench as an option for Mike Jeffries. And of course, one of those is George Tesouris, the backup goalkeeper. So You're hoping you don't have to use that one. Tabo Nare, the one other guy who's available.
I've seen stranger things, Mike, and I'm not just talking, or Mark, excuse me, I'm not just talking about the show of goalies having to maybe step onto the pitch. Of course, for Charlotte, hoping that's not the case today.
Well, there's one thing that's similar between that TV show and the sport. It's all about 11, the players on the pitch.
Wow, Mark coming through. I love that.
And here's Recall trying to break through that back line, but Jaime Romero is there. Jaime with the turn. Pulls it over to the left-hand side for Ortiz. Ortiz not going to rush anything here. That's a loose pass from Ayud Manit. And now Jaden Smith will turn on the burners. Smith floats it to Healy. Tate Healy settles it down, trying to connect with Recall. Some promise there on the counter.
It's time for a move.
Fort Wayne definitely has had some dangerous looks in this second half, and this is another one. Getting forward, well done to be able to get numbers off of the feed from Jaden Smith to drive across the box, and everyone hands on the head, frustration, knowing they let another good look slip away.
Michael Rempel will be the one to deliver the service, the left back. Once again, has some targets in the box. It floats over Solis's head. Abbey can keep this in play. Rempel, take two. Still in the box, Healy was able to get that one skipping towards goal, but Matt Levy ready for it.
Both goalies have had to make a lot of big saves this game, but the second half has felt like it's been more Matt Levy that has to have the acrobatic, quick saves just to anticipate and get to the spot right away, as he's been called on to step up in a big way this second half.
Here's Prince Sadie. No appearances yet this season for the Jacks, getting his first minutes after spending last season with Westchester, where he had 5 goals, 4 assists. So a good tally in 2025 in League One play. Also has experience, well, lots of experience at the USL Championship level. So it's such a fun dichotomy on the Charlotte Independence roster. It's either young bucks who are getting into the pro game for the first time, or these veterans who have played for quite a while, and there's not a ton of middle ground.
And I enjoyed when head coach Mike Jeffries was mentioning that, because it does make for a unique roster makeup. There is no in-between. It's either the OGs or the new kids on the block.
Yeah.
And for this group, they need to get some of that experience going. I mean, you look at the second half, they've been outshot 6-2, and both teams are getting into the final third. They're getting forward, but the corner kicks that Fort Wayne's created, the shots they've created, the volume, the quality has favored them around the goal to be able to get that final shot or service or opportunity. So Charlotte needing some of that experience and the young bucks to help them figure out a way to get going a bit more offensively.
Well, the 2 goal scorers for Fort Wayne are subbing out of the game. Jaden Smith and Tate Healy exit. And in come Kabiru Gafar and Clarence Abudor. That actually makes it all 4 goal scorers in this game who have now exited the match. Provided the fireworks early. It's going to need to be a new name if one of these sides is going to claim all 3 points. Good turn here from Skinner. He's persistent. finally cashed out of play. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Here's Prince Sadie feeding it ahead to Maru. Several black jerseys colliding on Swebu Maru to make sure he doesn't have any space to work with.
Just making it so tough for Charlotte to be able to break through. A lot right now has been them getting in around the box, but unable to get through for that shot, that final third pass, or even the cross to get in behind. So defensively, it's been a lot more of Fort Wayne being able to just keep everything in front and stifle what Charlotte is bringing their way.
It's going to be a Charlotte throw here. Both coaches now having made their tweaks in this game where they can with personnel. Mike Avery and Mike Jeffries, both been in the game for quite a while on the coaching element. Both got in the early to mid 90s, and their paths haven't quite crossed against each other too frequently, but two guys that know each other pretty well. I mean, Mike Avery, for the most part, has been coaching in the college game and has talked to Mike Jeffries about potential players from college going to the pro level or going to Des Moines to play during the summer in USL League Two action. So they both know each other. A lot of respect there between the two.
Definitely familiar names with Mike and Mike of just how active they've been involved on the soccer scene from the collegiate level to the pros.
Great shielding there from Emerson Nieto. Effectively boxing out the aggressor. One other tie between these two teams that's worth acknowledging. I mentioned DeMarcus Beasley earlier, and obviously he's such a huge piece to this Fort Wayne franchise. For about half a season in 2000, DeMarcus Beasley was coached by Chicago Fire assistant coach Mike Jeffries. So
there you go.
A little bit of a tie there. They were able to win a Lamar Hunt US Open Cup together in 2000 before Beasley went off to Europe. Awudor couldn't quite settle that one in. Ref says it's a clean interaction between him and the defender as Sadie turns the corner. Prince Sadie with the outside of his boot feeds it in the middle. Floated back to him. Sadie denied by Shipman.
I believe there would have been whistled offside regardless. That, though, is more of what Charlotte needs to be able to do. It's the quick movement. It's working in and out to be able to bring more numbers forward that can help unbalance Fort Wayne. I think it's just in the second half gotten a bit too predictable. Straight runs, the same matchups, whereas in the first half we saw a better job of their forwards and mids peeling off defenders to create some gaps to play into.
That ball is lofted up the pitch. Awudor. It's him and Javan Romero. Now on the ball is Gafar, who taps it right back. Can one of these teams find a breakthrough here? And the final 10 minutes of this match now is the opening 15 that found all our scoring. Recall, ambitious and easy for Matt Levy to handle.
Well, for Fort Wayne offensively, their shape has been difficult for Charlotte. They're pressing Charlotte so deep in their own defensive end. It's creating big gaps for them to be able to sometimes look to get in behind around the edge, but sometimes had those openings to play in front, and that's led to some of those shots from distance and chances from further out to combine to get forward.
Jaime over to Dimmick. This one able to slip through to Sadie. They'll roll it over to Clay Dimmick, the longtime Charlotte Independence man. Well done there by Michael Rempel. Bernd Shipman will now look to see where he wants to start this distribution. And I'll roll it easily to Thiago Dias. Not afraid to build out of the back are Fort Wayne.
Well, also they've been very comfortable defensively so far. Burnt Shipman hasn't had nearly as difficult of the shots as we saw in the first half coming his way.
Levy, reading the danger there, came way out of his box to knock it out of harm's way. Play will halt. We're going to get another substitution readying here, and it's a familiar face to Fort Wayne fans. Reed Sproat is going to sub in, and although, of course, this is the first professional year for Fort Wayne FC, it's 6th year as a club in general, and Reed Sproat has been a part of all of them. His 6th season with the club, playing with them in the USL 2 days, and no one has more appearances with this team than Sproat. This will now be his 55th time donning the Fort Wayne colors. Of course, now the autumn gold and black. Going through the rebranding as they made the jump to USL League One.
The 55th appearance for number 5. And honestly, I think it just gives a good look. Juan Solis has had so much to do, of course, also sitting on a yellow card, so maybe even a smart decision there to make sure he's not picking up another card. And this team has been attacking so much as they create another corner. This might just be to try to get some fresh legs and keep that attacking prowess going.
Well, one drawback of taking out Juan Solis is you don't have a 6'8" target to try to swing these corner kicks at. I guess you're just going to have to try and score on a corner kick like the rest of the teams do across all of America. Michael Rempel, once again the one who will try to drive this into the box. Rempel with the service. Levy able to get over ahead to get his fists on that ball even just a little bit. Another lofted ball. Got more sure-handed from Matt Levy. And it wouldn't have mattered had he not been able to claim it. At Bellevue University, your success is the only thing that matters. That's why they offer education that's designed to help you achieve your next goal. Find out more at degrees.bellevue.edu/goals. One more change for Mike Jeffries. Tabo Nare going to make his way into the match. Nare, who came on a 25-day contract to start this season, has been so solid and helpful for them that he is now going to be a part of the team for the whole season. Signed for the whole year, and a guy whom, I mean, the ink wasn't even dry on its contract and they needed him to come in and start against Spokane, and he has been a reliable option ever since then.
It's very encouraging to hear just from the inside what Charlotte has seen with Tabo Nare and that emergence as a 25-day contract to being a starter, to being a player they're bringing on full time. I mean, just a testament to his resilience and ability to find ways to help the team and show he deserves a spot. And with them being so banged up and dealing with a ton of injuries, you need players that are hungry to want to be an everyday player, everyday starter. So a nice storyline there for just the triumph and adversity to stay with it.
Sadie now will run it forward for the Jacks. Finds Jaime. Oh, how about that move from Christopher Jaime? Twitchy. Nare on the ball now, getting his first touches. And we're going to get a yellow card issued here. Once again, if you're interested in Bellevue University, here's the QR code to give yourself a peek at.
Definitely seeing more yellow cards being issued as the game's going on. I'm not the least bit surprised with just how this game has been so far, that it's now 2 apiece.
JP Jordan, the one being given the booking here. That one took a couple of glances and we'll be out for a goal kick. It's been a historic day at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. The goal scoring started early. And Right now, both sides looking at claiming a point apiece in this first ever match. And the newest stadium in USL League One. Ian Abbey will rush to this one to keep it in bounds. He has Recall as an option, and he'll roll it to him. Lilian Recall trying to feed it in the middle. Took a glance off of Reyoun Manin. A lot of body bumping here. Fort Wayne maintained possession.
We know it only took 2 minutes before our first goal of the contest by Tague Healy was hitting the back of the nets. That in this remainder of the game, far from over, especially with the volume and chances that we've been seeing. Fort Wayne feels like they have a little bit more in them in terms of this final push for a third goal.
This one will trickle all the way back. Reed Sproat rolls it into Diash. He gives it right back to him. Diash, another player who has several years of experience with Fort Wayne, so him and Sproat, they know each other's tendencies at this point, having played along the back line for several seasons now. The thudding, the chanting of the Fort Wayne faithful here in their first ever match at home, at least in USL League One play, as this one gets chopped down the pitch. Perhaps some of the luster being lost here for both sides offensively, but all it takes is a moment, something like this. Abbey, oh, just not enough juice on that pass.
That's unfortunate. That seemed like the window to be able to capitalize in transition. Ian Abbey just unable to connect on that pass.
Armas goes down, play will go on. Jaime, now chance for the Jacks. Christopher Jaime. That pass a little hard to bring in for Ortiz. Presses play on after he goes down.
Both teams needing to do a better job as they're building up field to make sure they're staying composed, completing that final pass. It's been a couple of giveaways that have been off the mark that are the difference between a turnover versus setting your teammate up for at least a good shot towards goal.
Launched up the pitch as we cross the 90-minute mark, and we've got 4 more minutes of time tacked on. And the whistle will sound because we have a player down. It's a Fort Wayne striker, Lilian Recall, the one who's hurting.
Mark, I know a cramp when I see one, and Lilian Recall was running to pressure the ball and immediately came up hobbling, dropped down, starts stretching. This game, we talked about it, so back and forth, so up-tempo. Although the fans might be cool, the players, in terms of your muscles and just the amount that you've run, definitely the wear and tear starts to really play into effect right now. This is where you want to keep the ball moving. You're starting to get tired, heavier legs. Let the ball do the work with your quick movements, quick passes to see if you can break through.
Gaffar dribbling it forward. How many more chances are there in this game for either side? Kabiru Gaffar feeding it into the middle. And it rolls back out to that boundary for a Charlotte throw. Gaffar let it go, thinking it was going to be Fort Wayne possession. And that's a rough tumble along the touchline.
The intensity of this game as bodies continue to hit the deck. Both teams just laying it all out, trying to get that go-ahead goal.
Sadie. This will roll out to Romero. And he will drill it over to the right-hand side. Dimmick feeding into Ortiz. He's had a couple of late stunning goals this season already, Vigo Ortiz. And after a shove, or maybe even just a light push from Clay Dimmick. It'll be a free kick for Fort Wayne. And the ref's not going to let Burr Shipman turn this into a goal kick.
Charlotte wanted a corner kick possibly on that one, and nonetheless, we're going the other way. This game been so close with a small margin for error. That's been the difference of really being able to break through. Just defensively, night and day from the first 15 minutes for how especially Fort Wayne, but both teams have been defending, staying organized, just the awareness to stifle any near chances.
Diash dribbling it forward. Seems a bit upset with the options being presented to him as he went forward.
Okay, you look on your screen right now, and for Fort Wayne, we're trickling into the final seconds. You have the ball. You need to get moving to see if you can get something.
Recall. And it knocked away by Monin.
He is really struggling with some cramping and hobbling yet again after that play, down stretching.
Rushing forward is Ghaffar. Kibiru Ghaffar takes some contact. The ref says play on. We've had a lot of nervy moments like that in this game. Armas wins it back for his team. Ball pops up. Settled down once again. Abudor goes to ground too easy. And up ahead is Swabu Maru. Maru, by one defender, lays it to his left. Cleared out for a corner kick. And the final whistle sounds. A historic night at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium ends in a draw. A point apiece for both teams. In what was a stunning opening 15 minutes. No breakthroughs found after that. Still, what an opener here, Renee, for this stadium.
Wow, both teams really left it all on the pitch. Down to the final second, chaos on both ends, and I'm with you. All you can do is shake your head on that one for both head coach Mike Jeffries and Mike Avery. You saw them coming together to shake hands. This game had it all, back and forth, but ultimately a 2-2 draw for two teams that really put together quality, product, and opportunities. Just a phenomenal game all around.
Well, if nothing else, it's a lovely advertisement for USL League One soccer and for what games at the stadium are going to be like here in the future. 2-2 your scoreline after 90+ minutes. We've got post-game coverage coming up next on ESPN+, so we will see you after this brief break.
At Ruoff Mortgage, we understand that you don't just need a mortgage. You need someone who knows your kid's name, your dream for a backyard, and that this is more than a house. At Ruoff, we've got your person, the one you'll lean on from your pre-approval to the closing table. Your loan officer will be there with you every step of the way. The right home begins with the right person by your side.
Partnership between O&E, Orthopedics Northeast, and Parkview Sports Medicine is unique because our team is taking care of the athlete in their own environment on the field. O&E is the other end of our treatment when someone actually does have an injury that requires a specialist care.
We have athletic trainers, we have the physical therapists, and everyone's important. Everyone has a role to play because our goal is the same. We're just trying to get these athletes back to doing what they love to do.
A successful home opener here at Ruoff Mortgage Stadium. 2-2, an exciting affair between Fort Wayne FC and Charlotte Independence. I mean, you got just about everything you could have asked for in a game like this. Mark Schoenster, Renee Washington with you here on the broadcast. Now it's all up for us just to wrap this up in a nice little bow and send you all home. So let's take a look at the highlights from this one. or as we should say, the first 15 minutes of this game. All of the action packed in there as far as the goal scoring is concerned, starting off with Taig Healy making history.
It was Thiago Dias that was able to serve this one back across the box. The second chance opportunity finished there by Taig Healy. The header just to put the ball away and finish his run. And then the other way, Charlotte responds back with a chance by Christy Manzinga, slicing, dicing, working through Fort Wayne's defense, and then ultimately able to squeeze that one through the legs of Juan Solis, out of the reach of Burnt Shipman, into the back of the net. Minutes later, here comes Fort Wayne again. This time it's Jaden Smith that comes through on the attack. That chance there by Lilian Ricole deflected, falls back to Jaden Smith, who's able to clean up on the rebound and just slides it home to give us goal number 3. Tied now because of this goal. 2-2 we head to after a great finish there. Well done by Enzo Martinez to just muscle through against Juan Solis, regains his balance outside the foot finish, and then squeezes that one past Burnt Shipman. Tied up from 15 minutes of back and forth goal scoring.
How do you like 15 shots on target in a game? I mean, maybe both coaches would say they wish that was a little bit lower for their opposition, but as a neutral observer, you're watching this game and thinking, wow, how many chances were generated in this one? How exciting a game to open up the new stadium. I mean, just fantastic stuff.
And very even in possession as you look at that 51 to 49%, but even corners favoring Fort Wayne, the 9 they were able to create. Both teams had a slew of chances, quality chances at that, with the amount of shots on target. But 2-2 in this high-scoring back-and-forth affair is what we finish with.
Both of these sides have to quickly turn their attention to games on Wednesday, both at home for these two sides. It's Portland Hearts of Pine coming to this stadium. Meanwhile, AC Boise will be visiting Charlotte Independence back over at American Legion Memorial Stadium. But that's on Wednesday. For our crew tonight, along with Renee Washington, I'm Mark Schoenster saying so long, and we'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.